L'épisode, il démarre dans quelques secondes, mais avant ça, je te rappelle, tu peux mettre 5 étoiles sur Spotify et Apple Podcast. Tu peux aussi mettre un commentaire sur Apple Podcast ou la section sondage sur Spotify. Et finalement, si tu veux me faire un retour sur Instagram, c'est dedicated_podcast. Je te remercie d'avance. Bonne écoute. Peace out.
What's up, y'all? You're tuning in to the Dedicated Podcast.
Hello everyone. I hope you are well. So today is an episode in English. À tous mes auditeurs en français, on passe dans un épisode en anglais aujourd'hui. So I'm very glad to have someone who came all the way from the US to visit Switzerland and obviously do some work. Today I have Ernest, Danjuma and Ebi, aka Danjuma.
Le Dange.
Le Dange. How are you?
Fantastic, man. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's good to be back in Geneva, back in Switzerland. We could do it in French if you want.
Nah,
you know.
Well, you know what? Drop a French word whenever you feel like it.
Yeah,
but we'll keep it in English. So first of all, why are you here?
So I'm here on the Geneva leg of my book tour.
Okay.
If you don't know, I wrote a book, a photo book, Waka Waka.
Okay.
Observations on Contemporary African Life, Culture, and Landscapes. It is my, dedication to African storytelling, to telling our stories over the last 20 years. Traveled 16 countries, and it just talks. It's everything. It's a story of Africa, of who we are, of African life, African culture. It takes you through everything, music, all of that stuff. And we've been through 9 cities, across the world. And
for the release,
and Geneva is the lucky number 10.
Okay, perfect. So we have a very famous French rapper called Booba, who says que des numéros 10 dans ma team. So only number 10 in my team, and number 10 in football means the best player. So that's what I will refer to for your 10th release event. We'll come back to the book, because obviously that's why you are here.
That's right.
But before we talk about the book, I want to talk a little bit about you.
That's right.
What were you curious about as a kid?
That's a good one. So I grew up in Kaduna, Nigeria. So this is a town, a cosmopolitan town in northern Nigeria, and I was one of 4 kids. And to be honest, I was just I was obviously a very, very curious kid. So much they used to call me, in fact, Waka Waka is somebody who it's
moving around.
A pidgin, it's a Nigerian pidgin word, and I think it's in Cameroon has a version of it as well, of just somebody who likes to gallivant. And that was my nickname growing up. And so for me, I think I've always been very curious about the human condition, just about people, about their cultures, about I was curious about information. I've always wanted to know a lot of things that people think is useless information. I find fascinating. I want to know why people do the things they do. I want to know why people think the way they think. And so for me, I guess I'm curious about the human condition, I guess is the way I would. So if it's art, the way humans express themselves, if it's religion, it's conversation, debate, politics, everything that represents human behavior, I'm always very fascinated by.
And if you had a few pictures in mind from your childhood, what would they be?
a picture in my mind.
Yeah. No, I don't know if you had a picture that you could describe. I don't know. Maybe you and your friends playing, I don't know, whatever game.
Right. Oh, you know what's coming to mind is a field trip that we took to the Coca-Cola factory when I was all the way. I think it's one of my earliest memories of a trip. We might have been. I couldn't have been more than 3, 4, and I remember that field trip, and I think about that, and we took the train.
Yes, exactly.
And growing up in Nigeria, the trains kind of disappeared. They were at least passenger trains. Were not really, they disappeared through much of my like childhood. And so that image, that photo, I wonder where that photo is even, of just our school, our class on this field trip, going to Coca-Cola. It made me realize that, when you bring kids together, be it a basketball camp, be it a book reading, these experiences, you never know what they kind of spark in a child, and that's random, right? I haven't actually talked about this moment since that photo was taken.
Yeah.
And so it's very, very that's what comes to mind. And I'm gonna ramble, but
Yeah, I ask you those two questions because, as you mentioned, your book, and we'll come back to it, but has a lot of pictures.
That's right.
And it takes a lot of curiosity to go to more than 15 countries. So
fair.
I wanted to understand that. We'll start talking about The Seed of Waka Waka, which is your book that you released in 2025.
That's right.
Do you remember the first moment where this project felt real? Whether it was manually real, technically real, with something in your hand, or when your idea was finally shaped.
Right. Oh, you hitting hard. Because it seems very surface, but anybody who's ever birthed anything, tough, you go through waves of belief, like, absolutely, definitely, we're gonna do this, and then you're like, man, does anybody want to who gives a, like, there are people who have gone to more countries, they're actual photographers, they're well, why me?
If I had to give an example, we all have this friends group chat, and we have the holiday, the vacation that made exactly. What is that moment for the book?
Right. So I think the moment when there are two moments, I will say, I should say. The first one is so I make the book, of course, and there are waves of emotions at that point, but it doesn't feel real. And then I send it off for publishing. So when the first sample comes back, I think that's when I'm like, okay,
so it's quite far in the process.
So I do the first sample was just to see if the photos print well on paper.
Okay.
Right. So it didn't really have, a lot of the words. The book is a lot of words. So the final version, and I have a copy of that original, version. I think just having that was a big step. And people, I'm an engineer by training, and so when you prototype something, psychologically that does do something for you. And so that moment where that first package comes in DHL, anybody that knows me, I mean, that's what I ended up using to sell the book, because I took that thing everywhere. And
just like your phone.
That was my phone. Like, it was there everywhere with me. Everywhere I traveled, they people have said that original copy has done more miles, more Waka Waka than anybody. So that was the first moment where it felt real. Of course, nothing beats the moment of selling the first copy or the first pre-order. Because now I'm like, holy shit! Now I actually have to. Because up until that point, who gives a like whatever?
It's
like,
just a project.
It's my pet project.
Yeah.
But when somebody else is like, you know what? Here's my money. I'll be expecting a copy of that book you said you wrote.
It gives you responsibility as well. Like in this book, there's a lot of pictures.
Right.
There's a lot of stories.
That's right.
I've seen that you're quite often defined as a storyteller.
Correct.
What's a storyteller?
What's a storyteller? Yes. So
and maybe it's good because I know that in Africa the storytellers are really in the culture. Exactly. But what would we define you as a storyteller?
Yeah. So it's a very again. I think for me, the reason I got to storyteller as my preferred title, as opposed to so when people see a book or photo book, they will often say, "Are you a photographer?"
Mm-hmm.
Yes, in many ways. I think I've come to that acceptance in some ways, and I accept that now because in the way that I think, a photographer is somebody who has sold a photo that they took for money. If somebody's willing to pay for your...
it's a good, because, probably 25, 30 years ago, a photographer was someone who was taking pictures.
Exactly.
But now
everybody with a phone can be a photographer.
Exactly.
So I think that's where I draw so if we want to gatekeep, maybe that's I allow them, right? Because I think a lot of people put a lot of work, a lot of effort into their craft.
Definitely.
I don't think it's good that anybody can just come to that. But storyteller, to your question, I think we're all storytellers, right? For me, I tell stories using different medium, and so either I'm a visual storyteller, I'm a writer, I'm a builder, and so I'm telling stories. I take photographs. The spoken word, the oral version of storytelling. So for me, it's all of those different things together that make me prefer storyteller to any one of those things. Right, I am all of those things, so I can be any one of them. But I think when you put it all together, I think that's why I've come to storyteller.
The storyteller in different countries in Africa also has how to say that, a spiritual side. Exactly. I would say
they're revered.
And in your case, you were able to do this book, and is it now, being a storyteller, your job?
Right. So with there's a responsibility, right? So when you take on this title, and when you take on a subject like this, there are a lot of people who are looking at how they are represented, what stories you're telling about them, and so for me, it's a responsibility I don't take lightly.
Okay.
I've always taken it very, very seriously, and I've taught other people. I teach storytelling classes to leaders, because again, life is really stories. It's we're living in a sequence of stories, and so stories are all very, very important. They're how we live our lives. But you're right. As a storyteller, you're vested with this responsibility to both document, to tell the truth, but also and the truth may not be pretty sometimes, right? And so you have to figure out
It's just real.
How to tell it responsibly, I think, is another thing that comes to mind. So yes, it is a very, very high title. It's not something I take lightly. I think generally speaking, we're all storytellers. So on some level, it is what it is. But a title that they're foisting on me now is a historian, and that's another level, because people are gonna come back and ask what the record of our time here, and we are the people who have to tell that. Like, what was it like back in the 2020s? Like, as we were talking about earlier on off camera, it's, if you describe this time to somebody, they won't believe you.
No.
The things that are happening in the world right now. If you told somebody 2030, maybe it might get more ridiculous as time passes, but which is why documenting is particularly important.
Definitely, yeah. So this book has been released, as I'm already mentioned, in 2025. Was this book an idea that you had in your mind for years, or was it something that, I don't know, 2023, you decided, okay, maybe I need to use all this knowledge, all this all these stories and images, and you made it? When was the idea? The moment, yeah.
Good question. I've been taking photos of my travels for a long time, but my actual medium, my primary medium of storytelling had been videos up until this point. Mostly video, mostly visual storytelling, and stitching it with photos and whatnot. But I think there was a trip that kind of that brought this to my consciousness, and that trip happened. So the original trip, I went to Sudan. I went to Khartoum in 2019.
Okay.
December 2019. I went for a wedding, and the wedding happens right after the revolution that took out the dictator that had been in power for 3 decades. And I think that happened in May, I want to say, of that year. So by December, or May or June, and then by December, the city is alive in a way that it hadn't been in decades, right? Just imagine, think Lagos or Accra. That's what was happening in Khartoum. It was a beautiful time to be there, and all the people I met just kept remarking on how amazing this moment is. And so we enjoy ourselves. I'm only there a couple of days. And then I go to Addis Ababa for another wedding, and then we come back to the US, and then the pandemic happens, and but then after maybe a couple of years later, the conflict, the proxy war, that is kind of, who knows if it's winding down, or that has created the largest humanitarian crisis in maybe the last decade. Started. And I remember, and a lot of people had to flee the capital. They had to flee Khartoum. And I remember my friend who I had stayed with when I had visited there was like, we're piecing together photos and videos of our time, of everything, of just the city, of life. Because I when I go, I visit, I kind of
take pictures,
take videos, I have my commentary, all of these things. And so he was saying they needed photos and videos, if I could send them some of the photos and videos I took, because that's all they have now. A lot of people weren't able to go back home to take anything before they left. And I think that was a moment where I started to kind of understand, one, the power of these photos, right? Because they literally are the only thing that might be able to give you a sense of home.
Yeah.
right? And having left my own home as well, at a very young age, I think that became a thing that was so seared into my mind, and the idea that this could be any of us, it could happen in any country.
Very true.
This is the nature of the world. It could be, a disaster, could force people to leave. It could be even positive gentrification, right? Development comes, and it pushes people out of neighborhoods. It changes the texture of neighborhoods. And so I coupled that with some other places I'd been, Piazza in Addis Ababa, that is now completely changed.
Very true, yeah.
You start to think about, okay, Africa's changing so rapidly. We're not even documenting or able to kind of piece together what our lives were like. And so that's what the first thing that catalyzed like me to be like, okay, I'm going to write a book. Okay, now what does the book look like? And then I went into my archives. Obviously, I spent a lot of time in my archives just putting together different pieces of like stories that I tell, over time. And so, I knew I had some stuff in there. Then once I started putting it together, it was it was a beautiful project to embark on.
So that means that you traveled a lot, but you always had that habit of taking a lot of pictures and video. Yeah,
I did.
And where does this come from? Just your curiosity?
So it's curiosity, one, but I don't know if I know a lot of families have this. Do you remember those photo albums we used to have in our houses?
Yeah.
And you remember your guests would come and your parents would go through each photo and they had a story.
Exactly.
They knew where every photo was taken. They knew everybody in the photos.
But it was easier back then because we had the time and date on the pictures.
On the photos. No, but that's not why they knew that, though.
Yeah, that's true.
They knew it, but those things were there. But it was not like they're thinking, oh, let me check when this was taken. Because sometimes it was, sometimes it wasn't. And so that's the essence of these. I realize our coffee table books are photo albums of yesteryears. I think that's what inspired me to create this book particularly, and the way that it's created is almost like an ode to that, to the photo album, on your tables, which are disappearing in the age of digital photography, right? Yeah, and so.
We'll go deeper and deeper in the book, but and we mentioned that it was a lot of photos, pictures, text as well.
Right.
Were you able to put some of your mood in your images, like the images that we find there?
Right.
Do they represent you as well, or are those pictures a reflection of the moment? It could be both, actually.
I think my eye is there. It's unmistakable. My kind of my lens, my approach to photography, my approach to storytelling. In the photos are one thing, but the context of the photos are a very big part of it, actually. I think that might be what separates this from most other photo books. It's really my reflections, and it's never really just a description of what's happening in the photo, right? So the photos in many ways are representative of an idea, right? I just told you about a moment where I'm a kid. We go on this field trip to a Coca-Cola plant, and we take the train. And it's seared into my memory. And then I told you a completely different story about what it means for kids who get to go to camp, and the way that we think of changing the world. It could be just that one little moment, and it could be one kid, it could be two kids that affects, but that's the nature of so those additional stories, I think, is what separates my own storytelling from other from a lot of other stories that I consume, and you'll see that throughout the book, both in the way that I capture things. It's not, my eye is not for perfection. Like, I'm not looking for a perfect photo. The photos are amazing, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, but from your perspective, it also reminds a moment. So
exactly,
it's a different perspective. Yeah.
Exactly, and the fact that it's able to communicate to people certain things and stir up emotion. Like, some people see these, some of these photos and they get really emotional
because
where there's really
remind
nothing.
them something. Specific.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you knew what you wanted this book to be. What didn't you want this book to be?
What did I not want the book to be? If I can say, I don't want it to be I didn't want it to be decoration.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a beautiful book. I wanted it to be,
I wanted
it to
table
be
book.
Decoration, but I didn't want it to be just decoration. And so in my research in writing this book, I must have gone through thousands of coffee table books from around the world, from Japan to everywhere. And from the size, I did a lot of research into what kinds of books, what size of books will people actually read, as opposed to it's too heavy, so big, it's just it'll be the corner piece of in the living room. Everything was I was meticulous in how I thought about every little element of it, and so that's the one thing. I there's a lot of stories in there. I hope people would read the stories. I think the main piece of the book is really even the text. Okay, if I'm being honest. But that's asking for a lot. And so I think what I don't want, as you said, was for it to just be decoration.
The book has different chapters, so you described it as a contemporary, African contemporary book.
That's right.
You talking about, in the book we can find stories about food, about the different African countries' culture, music, sports. Right. How did you pick? Because at the end of the day, for someone who knows Africa, they and their countries, they will discover other things. That's right. Definitely. That's right. But for someone who doesn't know Africa at all, that's also a good way for them to discover more about the countries.
To frame it. Yeah. I think if I'm being honest, I had a bunch of the photos, and then I started to kind of put them into buckets, and the themes started to kind of appear in many ways, right? You see the consistency and the beauty of pattern, and pattern recognition is a deeply human instinct, right? It's our survival instinct, right? What we call intuition is pattern recognition. And so there are going to be patterns in your behavior and what you do every day. And if you start to kind of piece those things together, it can tell a story about you, right? You can go on somebody's Instagram, you can see the way all their photos, and you can be like, okay, I could piece together a loose, idea of what I think this person might be interested in, or what they might look like, or what they might feel. And so for me, those photos over time actually exposed to me what my curiosities were.
That's what I was about to say. I was about to ask you, is this book your Instagram page?
It is. It 100% is. So a lot of my friends, I find, like people who have followed me for decades, or decade and a half, or however long Instagram has been around, some of them love it, that finally they're able to bring all of these things together in one piece and bring it home with them. And some people are like, well, why am I paying money when I could just go to your Instagram? And I've seen all this stuff on your Instagram anyway. And so in many ways, yeah, it definitely is.
I mentioned that this book also tell stories about food. What's your favorite food? I will not ask you your top one because I don't want you to get in trouble, but top three, and there's one you have to mention.
Look at that. I'm a very, 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 very simple person. So my favorite food is exactly what you think it would be. It's jollof rice, it's goat meat, it's plantain. I could eat that every day. With a little stew on it. So I could eat that any day of the week, twice on Tuesdays. But other places. I mean, I'm not the biggest foodie.
Mm-hmm.
In that I'm not I'll try anything.
Yeah.
Once.
I understand what you mean.
Yeah. But I'm not going out and venturing and be like, oh, you know what? I want to eat, this cuisine today. I want to eat that cuisine.
Yeah.
I'm very, very simple and basic in my, but I'm always, when people push me or people invite me, I should say, not push. When people invite me, I'm always willing to go out. So sushi's amazing. On the continent, some of the things I love. I love food from everywhere. I love dibs. I love chipjan. There's across the tagine. I love lamb. So nobody does lamb. I feel like the Moroccans. I like sweet stuff, so there's also that. I like meat, so nyama choma out in Kenya is always a good thing. I love chapati.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so yeah, I'm definitely somebody that eats wherever I go, but I'm not I will admit I'm not the biggest adventurer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've mentioned a lot of different foods, so but I understand what you mean. You need food to be efficient.
there you go.
If people take you to a specific place, you'll enjoy it.
Fine.
Yeah,
I couldn't have put it better. That's right. Right.
Just before we go to the next question, I'll take a little minute to give you one or two gifts.
Gifts.
That's why I just mentioned food. So one of my good friend has his hot sauce company.
Oh,
and this is a spicy salt for you. So it's called lvdd.ch. He has different hot sauce. He had different spices for meat, fish, etc.
Okay.
He has this salt. He has a spicy mayo. He has different products.
Wow.
lvdd.ch. So that's for you.
I appreciate the spicy salt.
Exactly. Yeah, you're gonna enjoy it.
That is amazing. And I make steak every once in a while, and for steak you just want salt and pepper. And so if you can have spicy salt, that kills.
That's going to be a different taste.
Yeah,
you're gonna level up your steak.
This is amazing. I appreciate that.
And the second one is coffee from a brand called Jabuna.
Okay.
So this one comes from Ethiopia. It's called Guji, and it's jabunacoffee.com, and he offers different type of coffee from different African countries. So here's for you.
That's my. I'm gonna tell you, coffee is one of my favorite things. So I collect coffee from around the continent.
Okay.
And obviously Ethiopia, the original.
The original.
Yeah,
I mean the OG.
The OG. So thank you for this.
Of course.
I have coffee every morning. I'm a coffee snob. And that is the one thing that I'm not because I really care about it, but because it puts me in a preparing it, going through the motions of actually making it. It's the first. It gives you a creative win every morning. So
Is this the first thing you do whenever you land in Addis Ababa?
there you go. Yeah, macchiato.
Exactly.
There you go.
So, you are here in Geneva for this book to present the book. If you had to present it, like let's say we go outside right now and we walk a little bit and someone stop us and say, "Hey, what is this book?" What would you tell that person?
This is a.
This is not a coffee table book.
It's not just. It's a
not
coffee
just.
table book.
It's not just a coffee table book. For sure.
For sure. But it is not just a coffee table book. It is history in motion.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a. If you want to understand what contemporary African life is like,
Mm-hmm.
and you should, because I'm not going to go into statistics of why Africa is important and getting increasingly important. But I think if you're curious about Africa, you're curious about storytelling. Then this is a book that will introduce you. It's a primer. I don't think this is the one-all, it's the be-all, end-all book. I think it starts a conversation on Africa that I think is very, very important, and it's a very, very beautiful book. So I do get people that stop me and be like, "What is this book?" And maybe I need to tighten my elevator pitch on the book.
I mean, the cover is great. First of all, and I'll obviously put pictures, but the cover is a blue. In French, we would say almost turquoise.
Yeah, turquoise.
So I mean, you cannot miss it.
Right.
If you put it in a bookshop,
That's right.
you cannot miss it. So
right.
so I see there was a lot of work. You said you were meticulous.
That's right.
So there's a lot of work on the cover, which is great. And for everyone who is interested in this book, please have a look at the pictures, etc., because everything looks great. We can see people, landscape, moments.
That's right. That's right.
Celebrities.
That's right.
Do I need to say? I don't know,
right.
but
There's a few of those in there.
Yeah, different places, different food, different people.
That's right.
And you mentioned obviously that it's not necessarily the best book of the year, but not every movie win Oscars. So and we still watch them. So
no, to be clear, this is the best book of the year.
Is it?
It's one of the best books of all time.
All right.
Yeah,
that's a statement.
Let me talk my shit.
And I mean, do you?
I mean,
definitely.
This might be one of the most important books you will ever read. And it's, I think, I mean, I talk a lot of shit.
Yeah,
and I'll talk my own shit. But I do think a lot of work has gone into it. It is a very, very important book.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it should be mandatory reading for young kids, both on the continent and outside of the continent.
Mm-hmm. We on the technical side, how difficult was it to put this book in place? Because definitely, I mean, finding someone to print it. First of all, just putting all the pictures together in a book. I forgot to mention there are a lot of quotes in the book as well.
That's right. That's right.
How to design them and all that. How difficult was it? Because I'm pretty sure I've seen someone who was in charge of the art direct.
That's right. So there's different people,
but there's so many good ideas.
That's right.
How difficult was it to decide on how?
Good question. So as you rightly pointed, I had a lot of amazing collaborators.
Mm-hmm.
and these people are the best in the world, right? Which is why I said I don't want to just sweep it under the rug. There are people who have worked on some of the most like important things, of our time, and they're on here. They dedicated their time, their vision. As you said, even the cover, the thought that went into it, that was not just me. It's a collaborative effort. A bunch of people, a bunch of Africans from all around the continent, from Ethiopia, Eritrea, Ghana, South Africa, they're everywhere. Nigeria, and so I have my friend from Singapore. So it took a lot of effort to get to this end product. So it's the work of African excellence, I will say. But technically, putting it together, I mean, it is. If you told me all the steps, I think in many ways, because I was not an expert in the field, I was able to embark on it, and it made me learn how almost there are different things that it triggers. It's like, it's the reason immigrants to a country are more, they puzzle because they come and they maybe don't even understand the barriers that exist. And sometimes people who are not experts in a profession are maybe more successful because they don't understand the institutional barriers that exist. So they're just going through it, and and people are like, you can't do that, right? And by the time they even find out they can't do it, they've already gone too far. And so in many ways, I think my own lack of knowledge of the book publishing industry, all of these different things, was the best thing for me. So as I was going, I was always meeting, and I had enablers. When you have people who are hype people, man, let me tell you, you're going to do some things. Because these people are going to be like, what? I'm like, oh, I'm looking for a publisher. I need to publish. He was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Publish the book yourself. You know everybody. I was like, what? He's like, dude, here's the contact information for the guy who's XYZ. And before you know it, I'm like, okay, I guess I'm self-publishing this book.
I mean, sometimes it's good to be naive.
It is. And I'm not to toot my own horn, I'm not naive at a lot of things.
I mean,
because again, I'm
to
somebody that is curious about things.
Ignorance
so I learn maybe too much. To the point where I'm like, and I'm conditioned, because I'm an engineer, maybe I'm conditioned to wonder about what is going to make something fail. Right? Because once you know what's going to make something fail, then you know what to do to make it succeed. But sometimes that can be the thing that that limits you. And so technically, we had an art director, we had a couple of editors, we had a photo editor who was going through the photos, and that was very difficult, man.
I guess,
having to get rid of photos that you love.
The final pick must have been like,
but you have to trust them.
And
there are people who maybe think the way I think, so they know I'm going to get rid of this photo, but I'm going to explain to you why it's in your best interest to get rid of this photo. And they leave the decision making to me. And so I'm like, okay, fair enough. That makes sense. And they're very, very good at their job. Same thing with the copy editor. Definitely one of the best in the game. Not only knowing how to do the job, but also knowing my writing. So knowing how to kind of manage both of those things, right? Because it's one thing, some things are contextual. So you need to be like, yo, I know this may seem like it doesn't make any sense, but this is the reason it's here. And then sometimes they would be like, listen, you're not going to be there to explain everything to everybody who buys the book. So if it can't speak for itself, it's got to go.
That's hard.
It was tedious, but I also I did everything in-house. because I wanted to also encourage people to, because so on the one hand, this is a book that I wrote, but on the other hand, I wanted to be a living testament for people to also tell their own stories, right?
Or to remind them
them that they can tell their own stories with just what they have in their archives.
Yeah, it comes because sometimes doing a book has I don't know, we picture it as something for the elite.
Exactly.
When we all have stories.
Exactly. And so
and
for me,
we are all expert in something.
Exactly. And so for me, I've taken on this as a way to show the gatekeepers on some level, whatever,
This book feels like a closing chapter or a new beginning.
Ooh. Oh, a new beginning for sure.
Yeah.
No, nowhere near. It is definitely it has so many layers, and the first question I get most of the time, in fact, not the first, but the question I get most frequently is when what's next? When is part 2? What is part 2 gonna be on? What's next? What other venture will come out of it? And there's just so many things that can come out of it that I just hope I don't disappoint the people who are emotionally invested in it.
Yeah, well, and how close are you to the financial side of the book? Do you?
I'm very, very,
yeah.
I'm everything.
Yeah.
I'm financier. I'm very,
because the thing is that sometimes we do projects, like with passion.
Right.
So releasing the book might be enough for you and be like, okay, I did it, and now I'm happy, and I'm gonna go to those release events, and obviously we're gonna sell some,
right? But enjoy myself mostly.
Yeah,
there's an element of that. Not gonna lie, I like a good time. Probably more than I like money.
Until,
but you need money to have a good time,
Yeah.
and so no. I think I have a plan. I think I'm always keeping the financial side in my view, but it's not the primary driver. And somebody had told me earlier on, even in the book publishing, you're not gonna make money from the book. We have made money from the book, so I did want to prove that wrong, because I think it's a worthwhile investment. But it's bigger than a book, like I said. I think it has so much. People love it. The first print run sold out in 60 days. So we've had to kind of do another run and another run. And so it's a project that will make money. If I get to sell as many as I want, I'll no doubt be rich.
But this person who said you don't make money out of a book, was this person intention to tell you it's impossible or to make money out of a book, or the intention was to say, okay, you may not make money out of this book, but it might bring you other opportunities?
Right. I think it's the latter.
Okay.
So this is somebody who has written 2 books now.
Okay.
Similar, but like photo books, in the same way, has gotten worldwide acclaim. And so in talking to them, in my research process, these are the people I wanted to talk to, right? People who have walked the road that I was getting into, and they're like, you're probably not going to make money from the book, but it'll open a lot of opportunities. You want to keep your eyes open when and not tunnel in on how much the book is making you, or what your advance is, or all of these different things. So that was the answer.
What? So you said that. No, we didn't mention it, but you live in the US.
These are facts.
At your apartment, what are the coffee table book that we can find?
Ooh, interesting.
If you're a coffee table book person, obviously.
I am.
Maybe that's your first
maybe
one.
This is the only one. I got no other coffee table books. Right now, on my coffee table, I think I rotate what stays present because I don't have a big. Obviously, I live in Brooklyn, New York, so it's not a. The coffee table is not super massive. So I rotate them out there. Some are stored in a bookshelf, but the ones on the coffee table right now are a lot of books by people my contemporaries actually. So there is Guzo,
Okay.
which is a coffee table book by Gelila Bekele.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Amazing, just a phenomenal book. Big. There is Chronicles of an Enchanted World, I think it's called. It's Victor Ehikamenor. It is I forget what the art people call it, and anthology or something. It has a fancy name, but that's on there as well. My boy Stephen Onoja has a book. It's more of a book, but it's made like a coffee table book. Sounds of Pain.
Well, I mean, it's a lot of books.
No, I got a little stack. There's a book, last day in Lagos.
Okay.
On Festac, that's on my coffee table as well. Waka Waka is there, of course.
Probably the first version, right?
The first version, actually, yeah. So I got a couple of books. I have some of the classics. I have Kinfolk, Entrepreneur. A lot of books that I use for research on there as well.
Le Danj.
Yes.
I only have one or two questions before we go to the final questions.
Okay.
If someone discovers Africa through this book, and I ask this question for the listeners that are in Africa or in the US, they might not understand it, but we are in Switzerland here, and people don't know about Africa as they would, as people in France, for example, would, or in the UK. I'm not saying that they're ignorant. I'm just saying that the communities are smaller, so there's a lot of things to learn. But if someone discovers Africa through this book tomorrow, for example, what do you hope they unlearn?
The most what the book will do over the course of the 300-400 pages is it'll methodically kind of take you through what life is like. So you go from what the airport is like, and what the cityscape is like, and what the what the buildings, the architecture and all of that is like. And then you go into celebrations and weddings and African weddings, and then you go into fashion. We go from the women making the clothes, like traditional weaving, to the runway. It'll take you everyday life, like kids going to school in their uniform and kind of just chilling, kids riding donkeys, and it explores every nook and cranny. It's a deeply human book, and then by the time it ends with Africans at rest. This idea that we often don't see, right? Which is kind of, Africans just on vacation, like just relaxing, unwinding. What are they doing? Leisure, and kind of, I think by the time you're done, it's going to be hard to dehumanize Africans, or to make it seem like it's just a place where we go to go get raw materials. It's our farm where we go to go get the things we need and then come here and which is essentially what Africa is right now. Right? And then every once in a while we'll send them small pocket change just to keep things going. Like it contextualizes the continent in its grandeur, in its in its in not so sexiness. Everything is in there.
Okay.
And I think that's I'm lucky to be able to have experienced Africa in that way. A lot of Africans haven't experienced that, and that's for everybody. That's not just even the people who are in. There are a lot of people in Africa who haven't. I hadn't visited any African country until I came to the US. So it's not I don't think it's something. My tactic is not this. I'm not shit talking people or shaming people for ignorance or whatever, because
you're opening the door.
I'm ignorant about a whole lot of about Asia. I never been to Asia. So I haven't been to South America. So there's a lot of places I don't know much about. And so I hope that this even is a template for how other continents tell their own stories.
Definitely, yeah. My last question before we get to my final question that I ask everyone. And I had this discussion with some friends and we had mixed feedbacks on this. It's very linked to what happened these last weeks. Okay. So you may have heard of a guy called I Show Speed.
These are facts.
Yeah. So he just finished, I think, yesterday, his African tour.
That's right.
And what's your opinion on that? What do you think about this kind of projects and the images that he shared, etc.? I don't have any negative or anything ideas about this. I just wanted to share this because we spoke. I mean, with my friends, we had different discussions, and we were saying, "Oh, these are the positive things. Right. These are the negative things." Right. That's right.
Right. So somebody was asking me on. A friend of mine had sent me a DM that they want to hear my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
And my response is I've not been weighing in on any topics because I'm like, listen, I'm minding my small business and selling my books. Everybody else can be doing whatever they're doing. Anything that's not making me money, I ain't got nothing to do with. But I think the I Show Speed. And for those who don't know I Show Speed, if you're living under a rock, I Show Speed is a streamer. And streamers are a big thing for young people, right?
The new media.
It's the new media. Not my generation, so I don't go online and watch streamers or, it's just not my genre. But I had known about I Show Speed.
He's too big. We cannot miss him. Yeah.
I think overall it was an amazing trip. I just seeing how many countries he even visited is mind-boggling to me.
I think it was more than 28.
20 something.
Yeah. I think it was 28.
Mind-boggling to be able to pack that into a month.
That's crazy.
Right? And for every country that he went to, for how organized they all were, how excited they all were to have him. And a lot of these countries are run by older people who in past years would know nothing about him and so care nothing about him. And so the barriers that everybody else would face, he would have had to go through them in the same ways.
Yeah.
But the way that they were all able to kind of almost learn from the next person, from the person before, so it just momentum kept growing.
That's true.
There were places where he had maybe some not so positive interaction, but even overwhelmingly, even in those places, I think he was received in a very, very lovely way. And so I think that was amazing. I love that he did it. I love the way that he was also, he did a very, very important thing which people don't see often. It's one thing to go and be received and be shown love. It's another thing to tell stories responsibly. He was they were very, very disciplined. And part of streaming culture is outrage.
Yeah.
And he was able to
specifically him.
Yeah, exactly. They're more about like, can we rouse, like, can we create like tension,
chaos
a little bit.
Yeah.
And the way that they were disciplined in being able to responsibly, even places where he wasn't really getting like maybe some of the kind of reaction maybe he had gotten in some of the other places, he was still very warm, very respectful, very complimentary of those countries. And I think that was the big thing for me.
Yeah.
I think overall, if there's a bad thing that I saw was on the idea of people being like, he's changing through one trip narratives that had been shaped in a generation. I think that that's hyperbole. I think it's not abnormal for us to think that these things, that one book or one trip or one is going to shift the narratives. I'm telling you, there are people who wake up every day and their job, these are my colleagues, I like to call them, the people who are shaping the counter narrative. This is their job. This is their career. There are industries that are built on it. So to think this one trip around, 1-2 days in each country is going to change the narrative of the world. I don't know what comes afterwards, but he's a busy guy. He's a young guy.
Very
he's
young.
21 years.
21, yes.
Yeah, he's gonna have life. He's gonna have things that happen. He's gonna have, he's gonna have ups. He's gonna have downs. Who knows? And so that job is not his. That job is all of ours, right? I think that can create this laziness of, didn't you watch Aisho Speed's thing? He changed the narrative. No, he's added one more data point to the narrative, but that narrative has been crafted over generations, and so it will take generations to undo. So that's my
I think
exclusive on the recently concluded I Show Speed tour.
I think I agree on all your points. Honestly, I really loved how all the country were prepared,
Right?
And that means that they understood the opportunity.
That's right.
Because a lot of countries are trying to grow their tourism and other activities. So right. I was happy to see how prepared the country. And obviously, as you mentioned, in some places there was 1 or 2 things happening, but I think that was part of the game.
That is part of the when you play. It should not be all great anyway. A lot of what we saw was maybe a lot of the. I feel like it was a little bit of this sanitized Africa, which can add to the idea that we need to be perfect for people to come visit.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not perfect.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be. In fact, what I want to show is that if you just tell the whole truth of it, that is enough.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, we don't have to create some lie that we're all kings or whatever, but we also don't have to be hyper fixated on poverty or on some of these other things either.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Le Danj, thank you for your time. I'm going to go to the last 2 questions, but before that, so everyone can find your book. How can we get your book? So I don't think this episode will be out by the time, while you're in Geneva.
That's right. That's right.
So how can people get your book?
Fair enough. Well, once again, thank you so much for having me. This is amazing. Geneva is a very, very special place. Because the cover girl, of course, is from Geneva. I've had some of my favorite times on the European continent here in Geneva. It's probably the first place in Europe that I actually visited. So, at least in the EU, I should say. I visited England.
Well,
The book-
Switzerland is not part of the EU.
Yeah, you guys are playing
Geographically.
footsie. You're playing footsie. You're doing what the UK was doing before they ended up running
No,
away.
UK is worse. They came in
Then
and they left.
Yeah, you guys are kind of like we're not in, but we're kind of together. You know. I see what y'all doing. But the book you can buy online, wakawakabook.com. It is
Worldwide.
worldwide. Yeah, it ships worldwide. It is available in stores in certain cities. It's going to be available in stores in almost all cities by the time I'm done.
Follow
Excuse me.
the Waka Waka
But you can
Instagram
follow
page,
the Waka Waka at Waka Waka Book on Instagram. Their most updated tour dates, bookstores where it's available. It's available right now at the Brooklyn Museum in New York, at a couple of other stores, Marché Rudy, Common Things. It's going to be everywhere. Now that I'm here in Geneva, one of the things we're going to do is also work with retailers. So it's going to be available at some retailers once the reprint is back on shelves, and so look out for that. But at Waka Waka Book on Instagram, wakawakabook.com is the website. You'll get the most updated information, and you can pre-order there. There's merch that's coming as well, so it's gonna be good.
Is the merch art director the same person who did the book?
It is.
Okay.
It is. Again, with collaborators.
I'm just asking.
With collaborators with my man Kwame from Ghana. He did some of the work there as well. So it's been a collaborative effort.
And to follow the storyteller, the Danjuma,
right.
you can follow him on Instagram at the Danjuma.
Yes, TheDanjuma.
Exactly.
Le Dange.
Le Dange. It's
Yes.
the French translation, I would say.
Oui, oui.
So my final two questions are: first of all, what is the song of the moment? Your song of the moment. You can take a few seconds to check your.
My song of the moment. There's a lot of Amapiano in my playlist right now. Tobetsa 3.0 specifically. That's the one, man. They've done a few versions, but the 3.0 that's hitting hard these days, you know. But Amapiano, you know, every other day there's a new song. But Tobetsa by Maestro. That's the jam that's on rotation right now.
That's perfect. And if you could have a dinner with 5 people, dead or alive, who would you have sitting with you?
Ooh, 5 people, dead or alive.
It could be, I don't know, a childhood friend or Michael Jackson.
Right. Okay. I would have this is gonna be the most random table that there is. All right, I'm gonna tell you this table, and then I'm gonna tell you why. So first, we're gonna have Jesus,
Okay.
and we're gonna have Muhammad.
Okay.
Cause man, I want to tell them, yo, these motherfuckers out here lying on your name. They're out here killing people. They're out here saying y'all sent them to kill people. Set the record straight.
Is it a dinner table or court?
This is dinner. We're kicking it. I just want to be like, yo, bro, you guys really did it. Like the whole world, you guys have the best selling books. Like, tell me how y'all did it first of all, so I can sell some books too. Right? So there's that. Jay-Z's since I don't have the $500,000 they were saying or the dinner, I'll take the dinner. I find his artistry very interesting. And he's inspired some of my own work as well. There's a president of Nigeria where I grew up that I've been very, 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 very fascinated by. Ibrahim Babangida. He's still alive, and he wrote a book, but in that table, it'd be the most random table, you know. And then I would have who else would I have? I would have Fumilayo Ransom Kuti. She's a pioneering woman. She's the mother of the late great Fela Anikulapo Kuti, and she was one of the founding mothers of Nigeria, actually. And so either her or the Emperor Haile Selassie, because I should have him there too, and be like, yo, they got a religion after you as well, bro.
Yeah. Wow. So that's a random table. So if we summarize Jesus, Muhammad, Jay-Z, Babangida, and
Fumilayo Ransom Kuti. Yeah,
that's a what?
Yeah. And then the
what are you eating? What are you
emperor,
eating though?
What are we eating? Ooh, we're eating jollof. It's a whole platter now. It's a whole African spread. You know, there's jollof. There's tibs. There's all kinds of different things on the table. It's a truly African like spread. You know, there's Jesus out here turning water to wine. You know, he's asking us what kind of wine y'all want. I'm doing miracles, baby. What's that? Nah, man. But yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
The Danj, thank you a lot. Before we end this, I want to give a huge shout out to Veronica.
That's right.
Who made this happen. So thank you, Vero. And tomorrow I'll come to your event.
Yeah, tomorrow's live.
And
by the time this comes out, the event would have happened.
Exactly, but we're gonna enjoy the event. I hope that everything goes very well for your book. I hope you sell a million
copies.
A million copies, and that you get to meet all these people at this dinner table.
Not yet.
No. But reincarnation.
That's right.
But I really hope that you'll get the success. I'm very curious to see what will come next.
Absolutely.
Whether it's another book you spoke about merch.
That's right.
So yeah, we'll see all that, and I hope a lot of release pop-up events for this book again, and maybe I don't know, in other cities in Europe or in the US, in Africa.
That's right.
And yeah, that's all I had to say. So thank you for your time. Thank you for spreading the word and your story to all the audience who is in Africa or in the US or whatever in the world.
Right.
After this episode, I have 2 or 3 other episodes in English, so you don't have to skip the page. Yay. You can go listen to the episode with Eden the foodie.
Turn the interpretation. Turn the interpretation. There's no excuse for not listening to things in French anymore.
Exactly, but I have one episode with Eden the foodie from Black Foodie. I have another episode with Helen. So if you look a little bit,
which Helen?
Helen, she's a friend from Washington DC.
Nice. Okay. Amazing.
And we spoke about a lot of things, about growing in the US, etc. So yeah, there are other episodes in English, so don't skip the podcast. And Danj, I'll see you tomorrow anyway. Thank you for your time. Have a safe trip back to wherever you'll go. And I'll come see you either in the US or whenever you come back here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. This was a pleasure.
Yeah, and for all the auditors, thank you for your time. You have the 5 stars on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Don't hesitate to let a comment under the comments section. And yeah, I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Dedicated Podcast.
Merci d'avoir écouté. Bye bye.